Video I will be discussing about LeetCode problem number 93, that is restore IP addresses. In this problem you are given a string and you have to produce all the strings that have a valid IP address. So you have to insert 3 dots in the string and it will form IP address. You have to check whether it is valid or not. For example, this is a valid string, but this is not a valid IP address. Why? Because it has to range from only 0 to 255. For example, this is a valid string, but this is not a valid string. Similarly, anything greater than this, that is 255, is also not a valid string. So you have to produce all the valid strings and you have to output that in an array list. So though it looks like a complicated problem, let's not complicate this. What are we doing here? We are just inserting 3 dots and we are forming the strings and checking whether it is valid or not. Let's dive into the problem. What are the 2 quick observations that we will be drawing from this? One thing is, wherever you place the dot, the length of the string can only be 1, 2, or it can be 3. It can never go greater than 3, right? Why? Because if you go greater than 3, it will already be greater than 255. So that is not happening. So wherever you insert the dot, you have only 3 options. That is length 1, length 2, and length 3. The only thing that you have to do is verify whether this is valid or not. Say for example, let's just insert 1 dot in the beginning. So we can insert after length 1, length 2, length 3. So what it does is, it will insert at 1, it will say this is valid, and it will insert as 2, it will say this is valid, it will insert at this point and it is immediately says it is invalid. But if you look here, this is not a valid string, right? 3.355. So what we can do is, though we are inserting 1 dot, we can also verify the ending string by thinking that we are inserting one more dot, and we can say that this is invalid. What we are just doing is, we are also verifying the last part of the string, right? So let's think it like this. We have a magical function where we pass the string into the magical function and it will insert a dot and it will give it back to you. It will insert a dot and it will give it back to you all the valid strings until that point. Okay. So we will pass this to the next. Say for example, I will explain with the entire problem. So for example, if you think like this, so this will give you 3 possible outputs. Fortunately, all of these 3 are valid, but I will just explain you the last one. Again, it will give you all the possible outputs. Again, all the 3 are valid here. Then again, I will explain just the last one. Again, you give the string to the function. What the function will give you? It will give you back all the valid results. These are the valid results that it will give you. But if you check here, this is invalid, but the other 2 are the valid ones. So let's dive into the code and I will explain you. So in this magical function, what are we giving? We are giving the string and we are also passing one more thing, that is index. Why we have to pass index? So once you have inserted 1 dot, right? Forget about this string. Don't even think of that string. Forget that it exists, right? So you will just be passing this part of the string and you will be asking it to insert one more dot. So just to forget that string, we are using the index. What does it say? So anything before this, you forget it and you just insert me a dot and give it back. So what we do, so we pass the string, we will just say to insert a dot and give it back to us. But while giving back to us, what this does is, it will recall itself again and it will insert one more dot. Similarly, we will insert it until the dots are greater than 4. We will just return it because that is not a valid scenario. However, if the dots equals to 4, though we are inserting 3 dots, since we want to verify the last part also, we are adding this additional condition. Okay, so this is a valid condition where we have inserted all the 4 dots and all of these are valid. And also the string is empty. Say for example, in this point, say there was one more thing. So that will not be a valid case, right? Say for example, the string is still not empty. You have 4 digits remaining. So that is not a valid scenario. So this will check for the valid scenario, that is the index should either be at the end or it should be greater than the end. So if it is in the range, it will add it to the answer that we are required. That is the first thing. What it will do again, from length 1 to length 3, it will generate the strings. It will insert the dot and it will verify if that is valid or not, and then it will insert the number. See, for example, in this particular scenario, what it will do is it will check here where I want to insert the dot, and it will verify if I am inserting the dot at the correct position or not, and that is valid or not. Then it will go to the next thing. So let me run this program and also submit this. Thank you for watching the video. Please do like and subscribe. But before that, one more additional thing that you can add here is that you can also add, if you look in the same problem itself. So one more thing that you will be able to add here is that if the length of the string is itself greater than 12, you can just return an empty string, or the remaining string, if it is greater than the required dots length into 3, you can just return empty string. You can just disqualify at that point. Say you have already inserted 2 dots and the remaining string is actually 8. It won't be possible, right? We cannot form a valid with the other part of the string. So one additional logic that you can add here is that logic. So once you add that, it will actually reduce the time complexity. Thank you for watching the video.